Here right in downtown Crossing is an old store that many people are not aware of. The Brattle Bookshop. It's a real piece of history. Been in Boston for a long time. This is the outdoor sales section where you can buy books cheap. But what a location. Right down this alley, you can see the mural there. Ginsberg, Burroughs, Kafka, even somebody resembling Dr. Seuss up there. Let's go inside. Here we are inside the Brattle. It's such a historic place, and with me is the owner, Ken Gloss. Just how much history is in this place?
I like to think an awful lot of history in the place. I mean, it's been in my family since the 40s. The store goes back to the 1820s, but we've had all sorts of books. And of course, if you talk about the history and the books in the place, that's a whole other thing. But there's always something interesting, fascinating. I mean, I liken my job to almost being like Jim Hawkins on Treasure Island every day, never knowing what you're going to see, whether it's letters of Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson, or wonderful old first editions of Thoreau and Emerson and so on, or relatively new items that are just good second-hand used books. So we run the whole gamut.
Now, we really don't have time to look at the whole place, but if I could go over to these posters, because these really illustrate some of the wonderful things that you have in the rare book collection, and that's, I guess, up on the third floor?
That's our third floor rare book. We go anywhere from outside at $1 to rare books that go they're very expensive. There's one here that where we're starting to get to the spring. This is an 1860 book on baseball that we have, but the Boston rules in 1860 was a square. I won't say a square diamond. That doesn't quite meet.
No, but I can see what you're saying.
The baseball field was square, but then further in it they had that's the Boston rules. Then further in they had the New York rules. That was the diamond, and New York won on that one.
There are two different rules?
There are two different sets. Well, when you get back to 1860s, you're at the beginning of baseball.
Look at that. It says directions for playing the Massachusetts game and the New York game.
Yeah.
A pamphlet printed in Boston for $12,500.
Yeah.
Now, that must be pretty rare.
It's pretty rare. Right? When you get into baseball in the 1860s, that's old. You know, whereas other subjects, 1860s, Civil War, Revolutionary War, that's not as old. But then you get into some things that are only 10 years old. If I could get a first edition of the first Harry Potter book, you're talking $30,000 or $40,000. It's 10 years old.
That's unbelievable.
So there's all the nuances. One of the favorite things I had recently, just after 9/11, I had a letter of Thomas Jefferson where he was talking about how to treat traitors and terrorists. Yeah. He actually used those words, traitors and terrorists. And what he said is they should get the full protection of the law and absolutely nothing else.
No waterboarding?
No waterboarding. He was talking about the War of 1812.
Oh, okay.
But you get, and you get to hold something like that. Just as you were walking in the door, I was on the phone with somebody who had a whole group of letters from John Kennedy. So he's going to come in, we're going to see if the signatures are what they should be and see what they're talking about.
It sounds like a great job.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And then we find books for everybody. And it's a wonderful way to be able to do it. And we're traveling all over the country, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So just when you think that this internet is taking over the world of books with Amazon.com, you can walk into a store like this and find gems. Gems between a couple covers that contain a lot of history. Just like this store. From the Brattle Bookshop in Boston, Carl Stevens, WBZ News Radio, 1030.